All right, everyone, this is Tim Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. It's the Monday after the debacle, the final debacle for the New York Giants in the 2021 season. Did a live stream. Joe Judge is still around. Don't know what John Mara is doing. He's now supposed to be meeting with John Mara later this afternoon. You're supposed to meet him this morning. He addressed the team. He's not going to address the media, it looks like. Will we have some type of decision on Joe Judge today? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. It's just another dysfunctional meeting or dysfunctionalness that we have with the Giants. They can't even fire somebody right. They can't even fire someone right. They can't even make a decision to fire or not fire somebody right. And I think that's the biggest problem with this organization. That's where this organization has been. They've been going. They've become the Wilpons. You can't let this guy coach this team anymore. And I understand. I think some of the philosophy, Mara, is we're going to bring in a general manager, and they've requested to speak to the guy in Kansas City, and I can't remember where else. But they are going to have an exhausted search. They have to get requests from people to basically allow them to interview. So it doesn't mean they're not going to go with an internal candidate. Still, it doesn't mean they're going external. They just need to figure out what's going on. And honestly, the organization as a whole doesn't get it. You got to go outside this mess to bring somebody in. You really do. And the fact that you are potentially waiting for your general manager to come in and make the decision for you in regards to what to do with your head coach is a chicken blank move. It really is. It shows that Mara is not Wellington, which we've all known for a long time now. And it was funny, though, because I was remembering a Wellington quote. And Wellington said it best, "The crowd is our customer. When they leave, it's the same as someone calling up or writing and saying that you're not doing what it is I want you to do. The message comes loud and clear, and it tells me this is what we need to do to improve the product." People didn't show up to the game yesterday. People didn't show up. People didn't care. There was other things and better things to do than waste 4 hours watching the Giants. Watching a train wreck, watching victory formation to run a quarterback sneak twice because you want to play for a punt. That alone should get you fired as a head coach. That alone, you should be moving on from a guy who sees the good in everything, but the only problem is there's nothing good there. Your ineptitude has dropped the team to 4-13 in one of the worst seasons that I have ever seen in all my years of watching the Giants. But John Mara's got to sit and think about this one. You let Dave Gettleman retire, which I have no problem with. Dave Gettleman was a good soldier. Dave Gettleman was a Giant for a long time. Dave Gettleman had his time in New York as general manager. It just didn't work out. Jerry Reese didn't work out. Gettleman didn't work out. Ernie Accorsi towards the end was, he left at the right time. In some ways, George Young stayed a little too long. Stayed at the party a little bit too long. But from an organization standpoint, if you look at this, it's just a wreck. It's a mess. You can blame the offense on Jason Garrett, which we did. Jason Garrett, scapegoat. You can blame him for that, but the fault and all has to lie with the head coach, the general manager, and the owner. And everything's never Joe Judge's fault. Textbook narcissist. Never your fault. You should not have the audacity to question anything that Joe Judge does. You know this. We all know it.
How dare you question Joe Judge?
Because the almighty Joe Judge will strike you down with a bolt of lightning if you do. And that's what we're stuck in. We're stuck in the middle. It's funny because I think of the movie Full Metal Jacket when they basically said that, it's a big S sandwich and we all got to take a bite. Well, the good news is as fans, we don't have to take bites. We can do other things. We can move our money other places. We can root otherwhere. I mean, not that you want to stop having it be your team, but you can move a different direction. You don't have to be part of an embarrassment. There's not one acceptable reason to keep Joe Judge besides the fact that I love when John Mara comes out and says, well, we don't want to look like a franchise that just keeps repeatedly changing coaches. Well, you are a franchise that repeatedly changing coaches. And because of the fact that you keep making the wrong decisions repeatedly, you keep doing it. And I love now all the people that were in love with Joe Judge are now the told you so people. This was the worst head coaching decision ever. I knew it. This is all bull crap. Worst head coach in Giant history. I knew it. No, for 2 years you bowed down to the ring of Joe Judge and kissed it. Some of us sat there and called through the BS. Some of us could see a con man from a mile away. Maybe it's because of the fact that I've been watching this football team since 76, 77. Maybe it's because of that. Maybe I've seen the Arnsbergers and the McVays and the Hanleys. Maybe I've seen the garbage, and you could call out garbage for what it is. And that garbage is Joe Judge. And so for basically Mara to punt and say, well, maybe we'll let the general manager decide on the head coach. And that's where I have a feeling we're going with this. Let the general manager make the decision on this team. And that's what makes it so scary. And that's what makes it to a point where you're just like, I don't want to spend the money, don't want to spend the tickets, don't want to do anything in regards to going out and making this franchise look any more respectable than they need to be by being a considerate fan. And I think that's what we need to do as a fan base, that if we can't sit there and judge this team from an actual football perspective and understand that they are not at times making what would be the decisions or the best interest in some regards to what the fans think. And I'm not saying as an ownership, you should always listen to the fans, but when the fans are calling for something such as this, and the call is loud, and it's a loud call also from the fact that it's not just coming from the fan base. It's coming from all the NFL. It's coming from inside the locker room. It's coming from the media. It's coming from social media. It's coming from everywhere. And we just sit there and you ignore it or pretend that it doesn't exist. That's the problem with the franchise. That's the problem with the Giants. That's what makes you dysfunctional. Not changing your coach every 2 years because of the fact that you keep picking the wrong coach. That's the problem. You keep picking the wrong coach. Stop picking the wrong coach. You know, sometimes you probably should have gave the doo-doo an extra year. Shermer should have been gone, but the doo-doo you should have gave an extra year. But just because you didn't give these two guys extra years, you shouldn't think that, you know what, I have to give this mistake of a coach an extra year, because the fact that he is learning on the job. The only problem is his on-the-job learning. He's not learning anything. He's not making his organization better. You could talk about the crap that you could do. We're building the foundation. The problem is you can't see the foundation. That's the textbook narcissist. I'm going to give you all these facts and figures, but none of them are provable. None of them will allow you to understand, or you will not be able to go out and verify anything that I'm telling you, because, you know, we're building the foundation because the foundation's underneath the layer of the floor. So you can't see this foundation I built. And that's the problem with Mara. That's the problem with this team. That's the problem going forward. We're going to have a stream on tomorrow, Tuesday at 4:00 with the Dahmer. Hope everyone can enjoy it. A little tired from the stream we did today. A little tired from staying up, dealing with all this crap over the last couple nights. But you know what? It's got to get better. Got to keep our fingers crossed as Giant fans. We got to hope they make the right decision. And again, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giant sports talk and entertainment. And as always, if you can like, subscribe, ring the bell, you know what it means. That'd be awesome.